Hi, my name's Arthur Panagis. I'm the founder and director of FMG Wealth Strategists. Thanks for joining us. Our mission here is to assist and help small business owners and individuals understand wealth creation, expansion and protection strategies so they too can live their dream financially free. I thought today might be a good chance to maybe talk to you a little bit about our why, because I think that's important. And probably goes back some 25 years ago when my wife, partner at the time, moved from the Riverland or Renmark in the Riverland up to Adelaide and started out with a small business, actually a hairdressing salon down at Glenelg, and I took care of the back operations and so forth. Now back then, admittedly I probably grew up on a fruit orchard up in the Riverland and spent most of my teenage years and before in working on a property, and probably got to understand at a young age what it was about being involved in small business. But at the time, that 25 years ago, when we moved down to town and started up this small business while I was working still in a accounting role in a corporate environment, probably within 12 months after moving to Adelaide, my mum and dad had to actually walk off of their fruit orchard. It was actually in the late 80s, which some of you may remember was a very high interest rate time, and they were a casualty from that. And the bank foreclosed on the property, and I just thought that was interesting. We were starting something up and then something else was shutting down. So, at the time, and probably for a few years after that, I probably think it would be fair to say that I carried a bit of baggage around and guilt, not being able to do more or should have done more, having only probably recently started in an accounting environment, working up there, and probably a little bit more literate than mum and dad, who were migrants. Just probably felt and carried for quite a while that could have done more about that. And probably wasn't till the early 2000s my wife took me along to a course, and begrudgingly I might add, and probably during that course and by the end of it I really got a sense that if I didn't turn this baggage into jet fuel, I think I'd be carrying it around for the most of my life, and I really didn't want to do that for lots of reasons. And probably the big realisation by the end of that was that this was my calling and purpose, and whether I've chose to work in this field or whether it chose me, which is probably more apt, we decided to do more. And so that with my, at the time, 15 years accounting experience and moving into the wealth advice and area, that this was the space that I needed to serve, and to make sure that under my watch what happened to mum and dad, and if I was involved, wouldn't happen again. So that was sort of a commitment that I made to myself. And from that time in the early 2000s, we started to undertake some additional studies further to our accounting studies to become basically to be able to get our financial license. And at that time spent a few years working in a couple of practices, learning, and soon after that we just started to found FMG Wealth Strategists, to help in that space. The other thing to do with this is that we also found that I think part of our mission is also to educate or financially coach, call it what you like, our clients, so they can get a better understanding of the area that we work in. And I probably like to use the analogy of I'm involved in one of my little hobbies, I suppose, is martial arts, and I've been doing that for about 12 years, and probably been an assistant instructor for about 3 years now. And it's if I could use the analogy, a white belt and a black belt, white is probably a novice, and black is obviously depicting the universe, because it's limitless and it's ever expanding, and it just doesn't stop and continually improving. And I'd probably like to think that there's a strong analogy there. It's actually how we came up with FMG. It actually stands for Financial Mastery Group, and we really believe it's actually a journey, and we'd love to have you on board and along this journey towards financial mastery, and because it just never ends. It's continuous, and we're always learning, and I suppose that's how we also came up with our logo too, which actually represents not only the evolutionary nature of investing, but also it's a symbol of a black belt too. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into our why, and why it's important for us to be in this space and to serve in this space. And we're committed to, as long as we can continue working here, to be able to assisting those small business people and individuals in this area. One thing I did want to add though is we're finding now in research in epigenetics and neuroplasticity that how much our mind is affecting our surroundings, and we can foresee in the future that that's also an important part, because we're learning more about this, and what we think about and think about, we bring about, if I could use that as an analogy. So the mind is also very important. That's why I think the financial coaching and in this space, and the education is really important for all concerned. So I'd like to leave you just with remember that we're living today and creating tomorrow, and what we call our purpose is what it's all about, and to make the rest of your life the best of your life. Thanks for your time.